right, we are in a great spot for our final speaker of today. I am absolutely thrilled to have Miss Angela Jeter here with us today. She comes from Spartanburg. I had a chance to get to know her because she spoke with us at one of our virtual breakfast meetings, and she was a riot. One of the most fun times that we had talking with you and Miss Tamika Wilson from Union County. So Angela is the chair of the Spartanburg County Democratic Party. She's also a military veteran and a small business owner herself. She has a great story to tell, and she's running for U.S. Senate to get rid of Tim Scott. Mr. Tim, racism is not a problem, Scott. So let's talk and hear from Miss Jeter. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. Y'all can do better than that. Come on, good morning. Yes. Good morning, everybody. As he said, first let me start by saying congratulations, Kathy, on your Volunteer of the Month award. We can't do anything, not just the Greenwood Party, but even the Spartanburg County Democratic Party can't do anything without our treasured volunteers that put in their time and support day after day, month after month, helping us get those things done and move the party forward. So congratulations, and thank you all so much for coming out this morning. I had to get up a little earlier this morning than I normally would. I normally sleep in until about 6:30. This morning y'all had me up at 4 so I can have my eyes awake and actually be a part of the festivities this morning as we drove in from Spartanburg. But we had a wonderful drive in, and I'm so excited to be here this morning. So I just have a few words, and then I'll be happy to entertain any questions from you. So I want to know how many of you realize that I will be the first female senator from South Carolina. Yes, for you that are asking, yes, it is 2021, and South Carolina has never had a woman as its United States Senator. So I decided I should change that. So I got in the race to run for the United States Senate. And there's just a few reasons that I decided to do that. First, I really do understand what to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, really does mean. I took that oath many years ago as an airman in the Air Force, and I would gladly do it again. Second, I certainly think I'm young and energetic enough to engage with the challenges that this moment presents. Next, I think I'm humble enough to know the difference between fact and fiction, and smart enough to know when to seek out those who know better than me when I do not. You know that it's been a relative conversation here lately, facts, and the fact that a fact now is no longer a fact. And finally, we really are in a historic moment. It is a historic moment that demands something of us. Let me explain that just a little bit. The moment itself says we've watched for more than a generation as partisan bickering and political maneuvering have been allowed to metastasize into a political cancer so unyielding it is intolerant of fact and democracy itself. That cancer blocked scrutiny of foreign interference into the 2016 presidential election, and it allowed COVID-19 to run rampant for nearly a year. That cancer makes a mockery of our national stability by suggesting the brazen attack on our Capitol was for a peaceful tour through the halls of Congress. And that cancer places the most basic feature of our democracy, the vote, by claiming widespread fraud and using it as a pretext to suppress the vote. But this is the moment we're in, and it demands something of us. For me, that demand was running for the United States Senate, because the midterm elections and redistricting, let's not forget about redistricting, will either bring our democratic experiment to an end or breathe new life into it. What is this race all about? In my opinion, it's about leadership and governing. Reflecting upon what I just said, I feel like South Carolina's Senate race, like any number of races across the country, will center on two things: the willingness to lead and a desire to govern. Regarding the former, the time has come for a frontline leader to represent South Carolina. What I mean by this is whoever South Carolina senator is, she should be someone that is unyielding and putting forth a vision, ready to accept limits on the exercise of authority, forthright about the choices being made in the name of others, accountable for those choices. I am such a person, and it informs my approach to governing, which rests on three things: fiscal reasonableness, support for federalism, and the idea that elected officials have a moral imperative to govern. What does that mean to you? Fiscal reasonableness means I readily acknowledge that budgets represent finite resources, so hard choices will most certainly have to be made. I support federalism, which means I hold fast the idea that while several states have rights under our Constitution, the federal government serves as the grantor of the public goods our democracy produces. Consequently, federalism means there will always be a tension between the federal government and the states, but that tension is not something we should fear. Indeed, both are very necessary to prevent excesses of either from hindering our individual rights to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. Finally, the moral imperative to govern means I fully embrace the idea that our system is, for our system to work, elected officials must govern. That's just not a question. They absolutely must govern. The priority areas for my campaign that I will focus on are the most important for South Carolina and the nation. Those areas are economic development, infrastructure, and education. As we were driving up, I could see along my path to get here that there were a lot of small businesses. So I'm pretty sure that Greenwood knows what COVID-19 has done to those businesses, if you're one of those small business owners. But it also made us acutely aware of micro businesses, period. And micro businesses are those businesses with between 1 and 5 employees. They are critical to our economy. But they were decimated because of COVID-19. So we must reimagine how we think about small businesses to ensure for the future that those businesses continue to thrive and be successful. And as I said, I drove in this morning. So infrastructure. When I looked at the information about Greenwood, I realized something that I didn't realize, and that there is a lot of commuting in and out of Greenwood. It's almost 40% of the people that live in Greenwood work somewhere else. And almost that same number lives somewhere else but comes into Greenwood to get work done. Roads are going to be important. Bridges are going to be important. South Carolina has a history of deferring its maintenance on its infrastructure. And we have to look at that, because we have to make sure that our infrastructure is intact so that we can be competitive for years and years to come. Education is another priority area, because absent federal policies on K through 12 and post-secondary education, investments in and policies about economic development and infrastructure can easily get out of hand. We are in a historic moment, and that moment demands something from all of us. For me, it has meant running for the United States Senate. For you, I hope it means supporting this campaign, engaging with priority areas that this campaign will highlight. But no matter how you choose to engage, the point is to engage, because that is what frontline leadership is all about. It's you, it's me, it's all of us stepping up to fight, to hold on to our national promise. My name is Angela Jeter, and I very much would like to be your next senator. So join me in building back better. Thank you so much for coming out this morning.
Wonderful. Would you like to take some questions? You're good. You can ask for questions from the audience.
Any questions?
Hey, thank you for being with us. Really appreciate getting to hear from you. When you win, what kind of legislator do you aspire to be? Do you plan on being somebody who's really kind of just in front of a camera, you're making your MSNBC appearances, you're talking to CNN, you're doing the news circuit, or do you plan on doing the hard work, actually writing bills and trying to convince your colleagues that this is a good idea and this is what America deserves?
Well, I will be the latter, because I think it is important, as this campaign has started out already, visiting all 46 counties. We have already started making our trek throughout the state. That is the only way we can ensure that the priority areas that we have made a priority truly are a priority for the citizens that I will be serving. I will not just be in D.C. and randomly coming down. I will be holding town halls, and I will be accountable to you as the citizens. As I said to someone else a few days ago, this is a very high-profile job interview. I am interviewing for a job, and ultimately, all of you will be making the decision about who gets it. So I will be very present in South Carolina, as well as making sure that those policies and monies that are available from the federal government rain down onto South Carolina.
Thank you.
I'm Robert Tinsley. Thanks for coming to speak with us this morning. It strikes me that on a philosophical level, that the other side has handed our candidates the issue on a silver platter. And the issue is patriotism and loyalty to this country versus treasonous behavior at all levels. And particularly so for you, with your background as an Air Force veteran. You pound that table on patriotism everywhere you go. And At some point, it'll catch up with the other side. You can reap the benefits of it and witness it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I worked hard in the United States Air Force. I actually served during Desert Storm. So, yes, I do know about serving. Thank you. I saw a hand up. There you go.
I'm a political scientist and economist, and I have concerns about the economy in the state, how it's set up. We have a chunk at the top who's holding the wealth, and they don't wish to have growth anywhere else. We need to get something so our youth and everybody can get we got a true middle class. That's the buyers. That's the people that make the economy push. How are you going to do that?
Yes, well, and one of the things we didn't talk about was, in addition to being all the other things, I'm also a chief financial officer and have been in the accounting field for quite some time. So I have a few years underneath my belt, and one of the things we absolutely will be looking at is the budget, the tax situation, to make sure that everybody is heeding to the American way and paying their fair share, because that is important. All too often, you are correct, there are a few people that seem to garner all the wealth, and then that's the rest of us little people down here. And so I am one of those little people, and I want to make sure that we all get our fair share and that we are all accounted for. So I absolutely will be supporting that. Sorry.
I just have one thing to say again about patriotism. 6 weeks ago, maybe 5 weeks ago, somebody that is a radio host in this area, because it picked up in Greenwood really clear, said that Democrats are not patriotic as Republicans.
Oh.
So I charge everybody up here to push your patriotism. This is a bump off of the most patriotic thing that's ever happened in Greenwood in 20 years.
I agree. Patriotism is a big part, and that was one of the things that really, I think, pushed me over the edge. I've been thinking about running for a number of years, and when I saw that insurrection on January the 6th, it just really, quite frankly, pissed me off. That all the things that I had fought for, and the freedom and the risk, that it was very easily that I could not have come back from the war that we were fighting. I had friends that did not come back. And to watch the ungratefulness, to have the audacity to storm the Capitol and take away the democracy that I fought for was unacceptable. And our senator stood by and did absolutely nothing. And I was very surprised at Lindsey Graham, because he is a veteran and he knows better.
Lindsey Graham's a piece of poo. I'm being nice because I'm Southern and there's ladies in the audience. He's actually a piece of S-H-I-T. Yes, I'm a 60th rebel, I'm sorry.
Wonderful. Okay, we'll talk, because I need to talk to you.
One final round of applause. We really appreciate when candidates come down to speak to us here in Greenwood. Really, it is a great effort you've made, and we appreciate that, and that's going to last a long time with us. We thank you for that.